So then take me to another aspect of this, and that is that Canada itself is the second largest processor and miner of uranium oxide. Australia is the third largest processor and miner of uranium oxide, and also exports pretty much the lot of it. There is some irony that Canada is actually using the product that it mines and processes. Australia is sending the rest of it to the rest of the world to generate electricity.
Yeah, and we're putting it to good use here in Canada, particularly in Ontario. Most of the uranium is coming from northern Saskatchewan, and we're using that uranium in our CANDU reactors, 18 of them here in Ontario and another one on the East Coast in New Brunswick, Point Lepreau. And actually, that uranium is going to continue to be used in our small modular reactors as well in jurisdictions, in provinces like Saskatchewan that currently aren't producing nuclear power. They're producing the uranium that we need, but they're looking forward to putting these small modular reactors in the province of Saskatchewan to help them do what we've already done in Ontario, eliminate coal-fired generation. And the beauty of the small modular reactor, Ross, is that you're going to be able to locate these SMRs at the site of a coal plant because the transmission is already there. One day you shut off the coal plant, and as soon as you do that, you flick on the switch to this emissions-free, reliable baseload SMR.
And so then you've got the other situation, even in your own country, of the federal government. What sort of obstacles have you had? What sort of legislation have they brought in? Because they too have actually had to really grapple in some ways with the rapid expansion of your nuclear output in Ontario.
Yeah, they've changed their position significantly on nuclear over the last number of years and have actually been a very enabling partner to help us move forward in expanding our nuclear fleet here in Canada, particularly in Ontario. They realize that if we want to hit the climate targets that have been set by the federal government, that there's really only one way that you can do that, and that's with reliable, affordable baseload power that really only comes from small modular reactors or large reactors. And so we've seen them bring in some help with Canada Infrastructure Bank through other programs to enable our nuclear regulator, the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission, to create a framework for siting small modular reactors, not just for our own province or our own country, but also our regulator has been a leader globally in working with other countries around the world, like Poland, for instance, that's looking to do the same thing that we've done in Ontario, one of the largest polluters in the world, mostly reliant on coal-fired power, or ironically, some nuclear power from Ukraine next door. But they're looking at doing the same thing, installing these small modular reactors at current coal sites and allowing them to clean the air and get the energy autonomy and energy security that they're looking for in the face of the Russian invasion in Ukraine.
And you mentioned earlier on one thing about the amount of investment that's come into Canada. Industry has come in there. Is that possible without having cheap, affordable and reliable electricity supply?
Listen, Ross, it wasn't that long ago. It was probably 8 years ago when the previous government was in power here in Ontario that global automakers were sounding the alarm bells, saying that Ontario was the least competitive jurisdiction in North America to build cars. In the last 6 years, we've been able to turn that around, and we're seeing all 5 of the current automakers that we have in Ontario putting in new multi-billion-dollar plants to build electric vehicles, hybrid vehicles, and even ICE engine vehicles. And those same companies are building electric vehicle battery plants here. So you have to have an affordable, reliable baseload system, and it's because of the Powering Ontario's growth plan that we put in the window for the world to see, and the fact that we have a 90% clean grid, one of the cleanest in the world, that is going to be expanding its nuclear profile, that we're seeing the massive investments that we're seeing here. So we like the path that we're on, especially when you compare where we are next to our neighbor in Quebec, for instance. They've been fully reliant on hydroelectric power for many, many years, and they've had an abundance of it. But their energy minister came out just last week saying that, they're going to have an electricity and energy shortage in the next 10 years, and they're going to have to turn away investments because they're simply not going to have the power. We're not going to be in that position because of the investments we're making, particularly the ones that we're making in nuclear.